Welcome to the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. I'm Tom Leach, along with Keeneland's director of simulcasting, Jim Goodman. And Breeders' Cup's over, but still some good racing each weekend to talk about here on the podcast as we check on stakes races around the country. But both did okay for Breeders' Cup. You had gave out the late pick 4 on Saturday, so that was a nice call. Finishing, we both liked Mucho Macho Man and Wise Dan at the end.
Well, when you finish late pick 4 with 2 singles, it's not too difficult, but it paid around $400, so that wasn't too bad. And and we both had Beholder in the distaff, and neither you nor I said anything about betting the distaff classic double. And we missed out on a $38 payoff.
We missed the boat there because we liked the 2 horses. Should have just done a single each one of them. And my best call was pitching Royal Delta, but I was hoping to get a little better payoff with Close Hatch's second. I was a little disappointed that it didn't pay a little more, but such is life. Let's move on to our stakes races on Saturday, and Churchill Downs' 8th race is the Grade 3 Cardinal Handicap, and looks like a pretty good betting race here. I didn't see any real standouts. Where'd you go?
I thought they drew a really nice field for this race. Somali Lemonade is one of my favorite horses coming out of the Flower Bowl Invitational, but she's 0 for 2 at Churchill, so I kind of got off her a little bit. And I stuck on Starstruck for Robbie Alvarado and Larry Jones. In the money all 3 times at Churchill, 2 for 3 at the distance. Nice little prep race, if you would call it that, in the Rodeo Drive Grade 1 Santa Anita race, where she ran behind Tis Flirtatious and Marketing Mix and only got beat 2 3/4. So I think Starstruck might be a good choice here. I'm going to take Abaco, who's probably going to be the favorite based on what I read in Daily Racing Form. Shug McGahee has this one coming from Belmont out of the Athena Grade 3, wearing behind Pianist, and is moving up. Had a couple of plus 90 buyers the last 2 times, and Rosie Napravnik takes the ride. But I like Starstruck a little bit better than Ms. Ida. Disappointed in the Grade 1 First Lady, but I think you can toss that. The yielding turf that day was kind of strange here at Keeneland, and she's much better than what she ran, and she ran behind Somali Lemonade and Laughing the last couple times out. So I'm taking Starstruck over Abaco and Ms. Ida.
I'm going to take Ms. Ida to bounce back. I think she likes this track, and I think you're exactly right about the turf condition didn't play to her chances last time. And then I think this is somewhat of a class drop against some of these in here. So Ms. Ida for me, and I'm going to use her with Starstruck, with Abaco, and with Solid Appeal, who's done some nice work up in Canada. Aqueduct's 8th race is the Grade 3 Long Island, and you got a horse in here, Strathnaver, who beat Abaco in a race at Laurel back in September, so you might be able to get a little information depending on which one goes off first. But I ended up settling on Tabreed for Christophe Clement. Horse came off a layoff and ran big in an allowance race at Keeneland. It was a 9-point buyer jump in that race, and the horse that she beat, Molly Morgan, came back and won real impressively at Churchill this week. So I'm going to take Tabreed, figuring that the other Clement will get bet heavier, and Tabreed might be a nice price, and I'm going to key her with Left a Message and Jazz and Strathnaver, and hopefully I'll be on the right Clement horse. What about you?
Now, this race goes off before the Cardinal Handicap. It goes off at 3:43. I think the Cardinal's probably around 5 o'clock. So you will be able to get an idea. If Strathnaver wins this race, that makes Abaco look very much better in the Cardinal Handicap. And I went with Strathnaver here. All 3 horses I picked happened to have raced at Keeneland, and a couple of them, their last race was at Keeneland. Strathnaver owns a Grade 3 win at this distance. Motion's given her time to recover from her close win in the Lady Baltimore at Laurel. So I'm going to take her on top with your horse, Tabreed, who I like for Christophe Clement, coming out of the allowance race here at Keeneland. Won by 4 lengths, so it was almost like a stakes-level win. And she closed from out of the clouds, and if she comes back to that effort, she's going to be tough to handle. And Left a Message was my 3rd horse. That horse also comes out of a Keeneland race, the Dowager here at a mile and a half on October 20th, and she looked like she loved that distance and was getting to the winner at the end. So I think Left a Message has a shot. But all 3 horses that I picked have Keeneland connections. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, imagine that. Hollywood's stakes race on Saturday is actually their 2nd race in the card. It's the Moccasin for 2-year-old fillies going 7 furlongs. Only 6 in here. Who did you land on?
This one's tough. I looked at trainers and how they do with 2-year-olds, and Doug O'Neill claimed for Emma. Looks like they put this filly in a $50,000 claiming race, first out at Santa Anita, and she won by 10 1/4. So that if you own this filly and you're winning the race by 8 lengths, and you're sitting there thinking, oh crap, I put her up for a price, and then Doug O'Neill claimed her, or Redham Racing claimed her. Obviously, O'Neill got the horse. She wins by 10 1/4. So that's a good news, bad news. So it might be a really astute claim, because that was a pretty impressive debut, and now they jump her right up from a claim to a $100,000 stakes race. So that would be a nice little return from a $50,000 claim. The other horses in here that look reasonable are Bajan with Espinoza up, the filly coming out of the Anokaya Stakes at Santa Anita, won by 2 1/4, and she finished in front of E equals MC squared, which is the other horse that I thought had a shot in here. But I'm going to take Doug O'Neill's very astute claim for Emma.
I'm on the same bandwagon with you there. I also like the fact that she got a couple of good works in since the last race, since the claim. So I feel like that's a nice pick. I just been a 6-horse field. Price is not going to be great, unfortunately. I'm going to key her with E equals MC squared and Lemon d'Oro for Graham Motion, who ran here at Keeneland. 8th race, or the Laurel, their 8th race is the Japan Racing Association Stakes, 3-year-olds and up, on the turf at 1 mile on the 16th. All but one of our races we're talking about today are on the turf. And I'm going to a horse I actually used last time when he ran at Keeneland, and it was Air Support. He's second off a layoff, which is a really good angle for McGahee. Shows a good work since that race at Keeneland, which was just kind of very mediocre. But if he can improve off that, he's 3 for 5 at this distance. And I'm just thinking he might kind of get overlooked for really good connections. And I think on his best day would certainly be right there with these. I just don't know if he's got his best day left. But I'm going to take a shot that he does, thinking I might get 4 or 5 to 1. And then I'll use him with Utley the 5, 6 Riding the River, and 1 Paris Vegas. What about you?
Yeah, Air Support was my third choice. I also like that race at Keeneland, and if she runs back, if he runs back to that, he's going to be tough. I took Paris Vegas on the inside. Shortens to his best distance. He goes back to 1 mile and a 16th after running 1 mile and 1/8 at Belmont, really not wanting any part of it. And I think he had a near miss to Zal Approval. Zal Approval ran big last time out, and that horse, obviously comes back and almost beats Wise Dan. So finishing 8 lengths behind Zal Approval on a distance that you don't really like, I think bodes well for Paris Vegas' chances here in this $100,000 stakes race. The other horse that I liked besides yours was Utley. He also shortens up after a good effort in the Keeneland allowance on October 24th. If I recall, I think you picked him that day, and he only got beat by 3/4 lengths to a pretty good horse called Keep Up. So I'm going to take Paris Vegas on top, but I think this is a very good betting race.
Best of luck on your picks for this week, and we'll be back to handicap another Saturday of stakes races around the country next week here on the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.